Well. Look who's back from watching another video. Alright, today we got an absolutely epic transformation. As you can see, this dude's got dreads right now. So, there's not many haircuts you think you could do with this. I mean, the hair's matted, it's super long, it's all dreaded. So what can we possibly even do with this? Y'all about to find out. And you're going to be mind blown just like this guy was. So, right now what I'm doing is I was just cutting down the dreads, getting them probably about 6 inches in length. Because what I'm going to do is take him over to the wash bowl and I'm going to soak his hair just so that that matted up hair can loosen up a little bit. And the reason why I did this was because I want the hair to get loose. I want some of the dirt to kind of, get out of there. And I don't want it to be extremely difficult. And I don't want it to be painful pulling on his head. So now what I'm doing is I'm cutting the hair down to a little bit above right where it comes off of the head. So with his dreadlocks, there's about an inch of undreaded hair. So I cut a little bit above that, and now I'm using the comb to separate and pull apart the hair just so that it can unwind from that dread. And he kept very good care of his hair. It was clean, it didn't smell, there wasn't too much buildup, so that was also a plus. Now check this reaction. Watch this. This is just one of the moments and one of the emotions that he gives, and this is the first time he's done this in 6 years.
No way, bro. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No way.
Uh-huh.
No way. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No,
That's crazy. Hey, that's sweet.
dude, that's so nuts. That feels amazing, bro. Like, even my whole head is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's floating.
Dude,
It's like,
I gotta take photos and stuff.
that's crazy. It's just, I can feel it. I don't know how to explain it. They're gone. Look at that.
Now where else can he get that reaction from? I mean, that blows my mind just seeing him react like that. That just goes to show how much you can impact somebody's life just by cutting their hair. By cutting their hair, he feels like this. This is incredible. You can't get this anywhere else.
Oh my god.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Oh my god. Oh, it's been years, dude. Years.
And here we go again. We're just washing his hair, making sure we're getting all that build up grime, build up sweat, dead skin cells, any kind of dirt, and any other, particle or whatever may be in his hair from all those years. When your hair is dreaded up, you can only wash it so well. So, just going through with my comb now, and I'm just kind of picking out whatever knots I feel, any tough spots. So, pretty much that's all we're doing right now, and just making sure I'm able to run a comb through it and keep it smooth. And this right here, I'm about to give him the comb, and this is going to be the first time he's run a comb through his hair in 6 years, guys. 6 years. Check this out.
Good. Go straight, yeah. Doesn't that feel good?
I can't even do it. It's like nothing's even there.
Yeah, bro, it's nuts. No pull or nothing.
No, that's smooth hair.
Yeah, welcome to the lifestyle now, man.
And right here, guys, I just put some conditioner in his hair, let it sit for a few minutes, and I rinsed it out. Unrecognizable. Look at this dude. Not too long ago, he just had dreads. He can't even believe it. This This is incredible.
I actually like the way that looks. I like a slick back. Like that. I think we're gonna cut it like this if you're okay with it.
Yeah, I think
Because
so.
that looks
With this
really
being-
good. Oh yeah, you just push it back. You literally can just get it with the section. Yeah, man.
You said you like doing this, so.
See, he cannot believe the way he looks. He's so awestruck. He can't even put it into words. I mean, I was too. I couldn't believe how well his hair, stayed and how nice it was. So we're getting into this cut. We're gonna really start to transform him now. So this right here, I'm just setting my parting because I'm gonna be doing. It's gonna be a comb. It's like a mix between a comb over and a slick back. It's not completely back. It's a little bit diagonal back towards his right ear, going with his natural part line. So after I create those, like the partings, and I section off that top area of the head, what I'm doing now is I'm starting from the right side and I'm angling down left, like towards his ear. And what I'm doing now is I'm making diagonal sections because this is going to be the direction of the hair growth, the way that the hairstyle is going to be flowing, and I want to make sure that I'm pulling the hair off the head after I make my 1-inch sections. And what I'm doing is I'm angling it down so that the longer bits are towards the top, and as it goes down more to the left, it gets a little bit shorter. So I'm further up from the head, and as I'm working my way down towards the ear and behind the ear, I'm getting closer to the head, because you want to have that graduation, so that the longer hairs are blending right into the shorter hairs when you're cutting. And I'm just going to be making these 1-inch sections all the way towards the back of the head until I get to the center, and then I'm going to be doing the exact same thing onto the other side. And what I'm doing is, with my 1-inch sections, I'm combining it with the previous section that I just cut, so that you have a guideline so that you know where to cut, so you don't lose the shape and the style of the haircut. And I'm just making my way all the way around the head, and I'm just going to be ensuring that everything's even, and I'm trying to make it as smooth as possible when it comes to that blend. And right here, guys, I'm doing the exact same thing that I did on the other side, but you'll be able to see it a little bit better. I'm creating 1-inch diagonal sections from that top left, of the head where that recession point starts, and I'm working all the way down towards the back of the ear, and I'm going to be following the same exact shape, and I'm going to be using the previous cut as a guideline so that everything's even. Also, another thing, when I'm cutting, I'm always trying and experimenting different hand positions, different ways to hold the shear, different cutting techniques. So whenever you see me switch a style up or try and move my hands in a certain way, I want to try and find different positions to where I'm comfortable. I don't want to constantly always be cutting the same exact way. I like to try different things, different styles, different positions, just so that my hands can get comfortable and I can get used to cutting in an awkward position. When I made those diagonal sections, I didn't take quite enough off towards the bottom of where that blend's gonna be. So what I'm doing here is I'm combing the hair down over where I want that top guideline to be, and I'm kind of just cleaning up the like the extra ends and loose ends that I may have missed. And this side of the head, it's also a awkward position for me. I feel more comfortable on the right side of the head as I'm right-handed. So I'm still learning on, which positions are best and how to get the right cut the first time without having to go over it too much. So you're gonna see me kind of go over and just check what I'm doing. Pull everything up, see if there's some long hairs, which there are, and you can see right there that I'm gonna be cutting. So just going through, evening everything up, double checking, and making sure that everything's even. Now we're getting right into it. I got my lever open and I'm creating my initial guideline. And the reason why I'm going with my lever open first is because he's got light hair. So I didn't want to go too low with it for my initial guideline. I kind of wanted to have some wiggle room with where I can adjust that blend. So that's the reason why I went with it open. And after that first guideline, I'm going right in with my number 3 guard, trying to keep it no higher than the parietal ridge, and that's pretty much where I want that blend. So I'm going to try and do everything that I can to keep it under there, and you're going to see how I go through and work on everything. Now I'm staying right under that 3 guard. I got my number 2 guard, and I'm just staying right under that line, and I'm going to be closing the lever and working down. After that 2 guard, I'm following right back up with my 1.5, and I'm following the exact same steps. Keeping that lever open, working it down till it's closed, and I'm trying to stay under that highest guideline. And there's going to be some weight right there, but we're going to get that taken care of. What's after a 1.5? A number 1 guard, following right back up. Keeping it open at first, slowly closing it, and I'm working down. And as you can see, there is still quite a bit of weight right along that parietal ridge. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be going in with clipper over comb, and I'm just going to slowly be taking out that weight until it's got a nice seamless blend. And this hair was actually pretty difficult for me to blend just because of it was dreaded up for so long. It's not sitting exactly how it should. Now it does look like it, but there's a lot of movement within each hair strand, and it's not laying exactly where it should. Plus it's my first time cutting his hair, so it's a learning experience, and it's something that I just need to problem solve and get done. So we'll work through and get this weight taken care of. And that's another thing that you got to know how to do. You just got to go through, find the guards that work, understand the length of the hair, where your previous guidelines were as well, and just go in and attack that weight. I'm also going to be doing the same steps on this side, except I'm going to be starting with my number 3 guard. Sometimes, when I got somebody in the chair, I try out different fading techniques and, like to experiment with different ways of fading because I want to see and test myself and my abilities. So, all the practice that I put in and, all that work, even I struggle sometimes, and it's normal. You just got to learn from it, figure out what works, and make a mental note and remember that. And as you can see, I'm bouncing around with different guards, different lever positions. And the reason why I do this is I don't have set steps. I'm always trying something different. When I cut hair, I'm looking at the length of the hair. Now, I'm following a guide system, but I don't always stick to that system. I switch it up depending on how thick the density of the hair is, the color of the hair, the texture of the hair. I'm watching to see how different guards blend into each other. So I'm not always following the same system. So I bounce around quite a bit. It's a little bit of an unconventional kind of way of blending. But I'm looking at the hair. I'm looking at the length of the hair, and I'm understanding my guards and what the clipper system that I'm using is. As you can see, I went from a 3. I had my lever open. I went back to the 3. I had a 1.5. I have a 2 guard. So I'm not following a set plan. I'm kind of going based off what I see with the length of the hair and how, you know, my clipper game's working that day. And another reason why I'm cutting the way I do, and I use the guide system that I do, and I bounce back and forth. Like I said, I like to try different things. I like to experiment. I want to test my abilities, and I want to get to an understanding of hair where I can just grab a guard, put it on, get right into the haircut, and I'm at an understanding with the hair, knowing what length it is at all times. Everybody's got their own way of cutting. Everyone's got their own way of blending. What is important is figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. So no one person's blending technique will be the same. There's different methods and different ways that work easiest, and this is what I find helpful. I like to bounce around. Most of the time, you know, I go from like 3, 2, 1.5 to 1, but sometimes I'll guard jump, and I don't always have the perfect plan and the perfect setup in chronological order in relation to the guards. So I bounce around, and you know, I let my eyes do the cutting. And with these tutorials, I'm really hoping you guys can pick something up, pick a trick up, maybe learn a thing or two, hopefully walk away with a better understanding and a better knowledge of using guidelines and, you know, cutting hair. But I'm showing you guys, you know, my techniques, what I like to do and how I get it done. So that's how I do it, and I'm always learning. It's a never-ending journey. You know, sky's the limit with barbering. So learn. Right now I'm just doing some clipper over comb. Just kind of touching up a couple areas, not really taking too much off, just trying to get some loose hairs. And just working my way in the back of the haircut right now, shortening it up a little bit. And just trying to make it as seamless as possible. Trying to work with, you know, that hair that was shredded up for so long. So getting into it, got my 2 guard right now, and slowly chipping away at it. Now we're getting into the lineup. We're gonna make them fresh. Gonna get them tight. We're gonna really make these lines pop, and it's really gonna stick out. I'm really looking forward for you guys to see what it looks like with him lined up, how clean the lines are, and how much of a transformation this really is. So we're getting into it. And when I'm working on the C cups, I really want to try and make that curve as smooth as possible. I usually like to start towards the bottom of the beard, right where that, you know, like the lip and the top of that beard line meet. I'll set a guideline there, and then I'll work from the curve all the way down, trying to make that, you know, curve as seamless as possible. And right here, guys, we're going to hit him with that lineup. I already put some shave gel on his face, and now it's about to pop. It's really about to stand out, and man, this transformation is just about to blow his mind. I mean, I'm already blown away at it, but I know he's really gonna enjoy it. I mean, it's a completely different look. He's never really had this happen to him, and this right here, I'm just telling him to kind of puff his cheek out a little bit, stretch the skin a little bit more so it's not so loose down by that bottom cheekbone, and I'm just trying to keep that skin as tight as possible so I can get a crisp line. And once you're done with that initial line, always go back over it, clean up that line, make it extra crisp and sharp, and that's where you really make a pop. This is the end, guys. You're about to see the final results. Huge shout out to John for trusting me, you know, coming into the shop and allowing me to have this wonderful opportunity to cut the dreads off and give them a completely different look in 6 years. It's a very surreal experience. You know, it was very emotional, a very fun cut, and I just want to thank him for coming in. I'm going to let the rest of the video speak for itself. This is just pure raw emotion and reaction from him, and this is why I love barbering and I love what I do.
I don't even look like the same person.
Looks good, bro. I love it.
Right now,
Get out.
Yes, sir.
No, but the best way. That's how you want it to be styled, so. Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, I don't even look like I had dreads. It's more to me. Fucking nuts.